All right, what's up, guys? Today we're gonna be taking a look at Haircraft Co.'s hair clay, or Haircraft Company's hair clay. They've basically done almost like a rebranding, redesign of their whole entire line. I don't know if there's been a reformulation, maybe there's been tweaks here and there, but from my understanding, it's essentially gonna be around the same product. Why we're taking a look at it, my hair is a little bit different from when it was in the beginning, or from the first review. My hair was about, I'd say, like 5 to 6 inches. Now it's probably close to 7. So a little bit more length, a little bit more weight. We'll show you guys how it fares now compared to when compared to the first video. So we'll do the usual. We got design of the jar, application process, my initial thoughts on it, and then how it endures out the day, and then my final thoughts on it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the jar. Taking a look at the redesign, we see that the Haircraft Company's presentation is a lot more minimal, a lot more cleaner, and just a little bit more thought out than what we got initially. Same company logo. Everything else is essentially a lot more minimal, more condensed, and just more like sleek. We have sticker label on top, sticker label around the body. Comes in a 2.8 ounce plastic container. When we open the jar, we see that the clay is, there's my hair in there. The clay is a very dense looking clay. I'd say, again, it probably err more on the waxy side. As you guys can see, I'm applying about a good amount of pressure to kind of break things apart. For this, you'll most likely have to use like a fingernail to kind of break things up to scoop it out of the jar. So let's go ahead and do the application. You guys open the jar, you're gonna get a whiff of, I remember it now, it's gonna be juicy fruit, or along those same lines of like gum, candy, and sweetness. It's advertised to be unscented, but what I get right now is just a little bit of sweetness out of it. So let me see. We're gonna expect a 2 out of 5 shine, a 3 out of 5 hold, which is a medium hold, and in terms of volume, we get a 4 out of 5. So essentially, it's gonna be about the same in comparison to other clays. We always usually get like a medium to high hold, a very matte finish, and then in terms of like texturizing and like volume, clays tend to like increase the volume of your hair in terms of how it looks. So hopefully this again falls in lines with all that. So right now I'm on day 1 of buildup. I just kind of rinsed out my hair. As you guys see, there's still a little bit of residue left, and that's probably coming from the beeswax. So just to give you guys a heads up, you're probably going to need a good shampooing to kind of rinse everything out. Just saying that now because I tend to forget at the end. So 1 scoop. Applying it to super dry hair, it's gonna hurt. So what you probably want to do, and not do what I do right now, is to apply it to completely dry hair. You're gonna want to do like maybe 90 or 80 to 90% dry with a little bit of moisture in your hair, just to kind of provide a little bit of softness in the application. Otherwise, you're gonna be tugging along. All right, so I think 1 scoop's gonna be a good amount, just because of what we have from yesterday in terms of buildup. We see that it's a fairly matte shine, good amount of texture. We get a very nice airiness to it, which provides a little bit of that volume. The responsiveness is pretty good. In terms of how strong the hold is, I think with most clays, the more dry, or the drier the hair that you're applying the product to, it kind of correlates to how strong the product's going to be. Obviously, it's water soluble, so the more water you have in it, the easier things are gonna break down. So again, that's gonna be less of a hold. With me, I'm gonna need a good amount of hold. So right now I'm applying it to super dry hair to maximize the amount of hold and control I can get from the product. Please ignore the sick ass fade I gave myself. Kind of just ended things right here, but just kind of pay attention to what the product's doing and not my sick skills of barbering on my own hair. So we're gonna go with the fairly loose look. I'm not gonna be using a comb for pretty much any clay because that's not the intention of most of those products, but give you guys a little bit of a tour. Cool. So very similar to what we had in the first review. The product is still performing essentially at the same capacity. So we'll see how it lasts throughout the day. I'm gonna be just pretty much editing and then running some errands. Today is gonna be like 90 something degrees. So a little bit of a, I guess, real life situation stress test in terms of, or in times of quarantine. But let's go ahead and get throughout the day and I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. So as you guys can see, like with most clays, things have softened up a little bit. We see that things are a little more fluffier. There's more volume. Texture is kind of like out there. There's going to be a lot of strays at this point, but good thing about a lot of clays and just waxes in general is that the restylability is very possible. So that's what we're gonna do. So at this point, you can either use like a little dab of more product, but with what we've got remaining, I think we're good actually. All right, so in terms of the rebranding and just the whole redesign of Haircraft Company's line, it's heading in a pretty nice direction where things are pretty much a lot more minimal and more sleek. That's something nice to see in terms of like the growth the company's going through. In terms of the product itself, it's still essentially performing the same as when we initially reviewed it, like I think last year, but I like the consistency. It's essentially performing how it's supposed to be, or in terms of how it's advertised to perform. With most products, it's always like hard to really pinpoint exactly how it's going to work for your hair. There's just so many variations on what products can do for each person. With this, for my hair, because I know like how my hair responds to clays and waxes in general, this essentially lives up to what it's basically sold as. I guess if you guys are ever like curious about getting into like clays and just like drier products, because maybe you're just the dude on the sleek end of things, or you're the dude that really never styles his hair, this is a good gateway into the whole clay and pomade world. It's a dry product. It's pretty forgiving in terms of how much product you use, how you style it, and like just in general, it's just like fairly easy to use. So you're looking for something quick, something easy, then this is definitely a good choice. Solid performance, good medium to high hold throughout the day, matte finish. We get decent amount of like control. I'd say it's more of like things are kind of like held in, I don't even know how to say it. Whatever, you get pretty decent control from it. Slickness, obviously there's none, just because it's like on the waxier and the more clay side of things. I think there's a little bit of oils in there, but don't think of it as like, yo, you're gonna get the cleanest and slickest possible look or style from this clay, or any clay at that point. But all right, let's go ahead and call it. Catch you guys next time.